So what we will do today, we'll create a table and we'll insert data, like we'll create like a partition key, primary key, and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. So let me go ahead and create our simple first DynamoDB table. Let's go back first. What is DynamoDB and why it is so important? Let's see what they'll say. So DynamoDB is a fully managed serverless key value NoSQL database designed to run high performance applications at any scale. Built-in security, continuous backup, automated multi-region replication, memory caching, data import, export tools. What does that mean is, let's say your EBS, right? EBS volume is only belongs to a specific availability zone. Let's say you have an EC2 instance in ES to 1A, not like I'm not talking about the whole region, 1A, right? And you have a EBS volume is in ES to 1B, you cannot attach the EBS volume, which is to an instance which is in ES1A, because EBS volume is belongs to only that 1A, 1B, right? And you cannot replicate EBS volume like a multi-availability zones, no. And you can do that with EFS, Elastic File System. Okay, and DynamoDB also you can do that. It's like, by default a multi-availability zone and a high scalability, highly secured. That is the main reason a lot of people, customers uses DynamoDB tables actually. Does that make sense? Can you guys type Y in the chat? Okay. So let me go back and create a simple DynamoDB table. So let's create a table name with a delta airfare and a partition key. And what we will do, we'll add a first name, or we'll simply add a confirmation. Actually, let's add a first name. Okay. And which is a string, and the sort key is optional, but we'll add a last name as a sort key. Sort key, partition key, how they sort it, right? When you call customer care, right? When you call customer care and hey, I'm unable to, or I would like to reschedule my flight, and can I have your confirmation number, ma'am? Or can I have PUK code, ma'am? Or can I have your first and last name, ma'am? Right, they'll check all those details, right? And they'll start using those details. Actually, they'll filter and they'll identify what is your current schedule, and they'll change it accordingly, whatever the way you want. Okay. And let's default settings and custom. Let's do customized settings. DynamoDB standard is fine. Okay, provisioned is fine. Let me count it to just one, but we are just testing it. One is fine. Okay, write capacity 1 to 10 maximum units and 70% target utilization, which is fine. Okay, so you will have to create a local index. Local index is something like, okay, social security number or SSN. Okay, what is SSN? SSN is a number, right? Or what we can do, we'll just simply confirmation number instead of SSN, confirmation number. Okay, confirmation number is a number. Okay, we'll create a local index, right? And this service is not free. Estimated cost $2.52 per month. That is okay. So what I'm gonna do, just to go ahead and create a table. Okay, so once the table is ready, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some indexes like insert data to that table actually. Okay. And once we, insert the data, then we'll filter using those keys that we have added earlier actually. Okay. Let's go ahead and select the table. Okay. Go to indexes, create an index. So index details, partition key, something like a first name, and the sort key is something like a last name. Okay. And we'll leave most of the settings as it is. Just go ahead and create that index. Right now, so once that index is ready, what we need to do, we need to create a table actually. Okay. And let's go back. We already created a table, right? Let's go back. Let's go back there. It's still creating actually. So once this is ready, we'll add some data. Like we'll add what we mentioned, like first and last name, or we'll add some numbers, and then once we have added that, and we'll update an item actually. We'll just create an item first, then we'll update it. We'll give one more minute. Select it. Create an item. It's the first name, right? First name is my first name. Last name is my last name. So the reason why we're discussing about this is, let's say, for example, the developer is they're adding a new features, right? They're adding a new features in this iteration, in this sprint, you can say, right? Let's say they're adding an extra field to add a social security number, or they're adding an extra field to add a MasterCard. Right now, they don't take MasterCard, they'll take Visa and American Express only, right? And they started taking MasterCard as well. So they're adding a feature to take accept to MasterCard transactions as well. So what they do, they means what the developers do, they'll test it locally, right? And MasterCard, those numbers starts with XYZ and a field MasterCard and a blah blah blah, right? They test with those changes locally, and once the testing is done, they'll create they'll give you those details to create index actually, and they'll ask you to insert data to this XYZ table. This is how you insert data. How simple is that? It's a pretty simple and a pretty straightforward. And these tables, that means this data needs to be updated prior to the deployment, right? Let's say you have a schema with 4 values, and you are adding a 5th value, but your deployment supports only 4 values, right? Which is fine. You have an extra value. That is fine. You are able to add a first and last name and a date of birth, whatever, another one more value, which is good. You have an extra value as well, but your application doesn't support that. That's okay. You are not adding a master card. You don't have a master card. It's not a mandatory, but if your application need 5 values and your database is supporting only 4 values, your application is not going to work. It's going to break. Are you guys with me? Can you guys type Y in the chat? That is the main reason you will have to update your schema first, then start the deployment actually. So some people, they are they're writing like automation scripts like Ansible or some other automation scripts, and they trigger those scripts prior to the deployment, so that schema will be automatically updated prior to the deployment. Prior to the deployment, in the sense like we have a Jenkins file, right? In the Jenkins file, in the first stage, just go ahead and update database first. If that goes well, then go to next stage, check out the code. Then go to next stage, have a build artifacts, like a build the artifacts. And the next stage, store them in an Nexus. Next stage, 45 scan. Next stage, one more scan. Then you can just deploy those artifacts using Ansible and install them. How simple is that? Straightforward, right? So that is the main reason. We can go ahead and create an item. Okay. Now let's go ahead and add a new attribute, right? So those attribute is like let's say number, master card, 1 2 3 4, right? Just to save it. Okay. So yeah, so those are fine for now. Now go back, select. Okay. So what we will do next, we'll try to sort the data basically. So let me go ahead and select this. So these are the items. This is a JSON view, that is fine. Tables, delta is there, which is good. Okay, this is not what we want. What exactly we want is we need to make sure that we are able to filter the data, right? So let's go ahead and explore our options. Let's go back to tables, select this table. No, that's not what we want. Go to indexes. This is the local one, right? Okay, let's go here. It's still creating. Okay. Yeah, this is still creating. This index is being created actually. So that is the main reason. Let me go ahead and refresh this. You can even create a replica, and this will be available in all availability zones actually. So that is the one of the reasons a lot of people uses DynamoDB. And even if they do have a MySQL data, this is a NoSQL. Okay, this is a NoSQL. Now there is a question: what is difference between MySQL and NoSQL, right? What is a main right? So SQL and NoSQL are different, whether they are in relational or non-relational, whether their schemas are predefined or dynamic, how they scale, type of data they include, whether they are more fit or multi-row transactions or unstructured transactions. What does it mean is, if it is a MySQL, it has to be very structured. You will have to make sure that how many, what is the schema, and all that kind of stuff that you need to mention NoSQL is like an unstructured data. You can put everything, whatever you want, basically. That is the main difference, like MySQL to NoSQL actually. Let's see if this index is ready. Why this is taking so much time? So basically what you can do is, what you will be able to do is, let's say you need to filter by last name, or you need to filter by first name. That's what they do. Those customer representative people, when they gather your data, and with that unique identifier, for example, when you call the bank, they'll identify with the last 4 digits of social security number, right? And what they'll do, they'll search, right? They'll search, and they'll add like partition key or whatever, like a primary key or foreign key as a social security number, last 4 digits of social security number. They'll add that, and they'll get entire your details actually. Not only them, everybody, any government agency, whoever is like getting your details, and they'll go their database actually. Even when you go to grocery store, not grocery store actually, maybe grocery stores, they'll add, when you register with your phone number, people ask like can you register with us, and you're going to get 10% discount, right? What they'll do, their application will add your phone number to their database, so that they'll filter, okay, this is Nilima is shopping today, and she's going to buy XYZ items. They monitor like that, and they'll start sending ads based on what you are purchasing very frequently actually. Okay, so let's go. Let's, this is what we want, so we'll write just a query. Okay, and we'll search with my first name, right? You will have an option. Last name is, for example, equal to, less than, greater than, begins with. I would say my, right? Okay, the query did not return any results. Okay, why? So the last name, first name is my first name, because, okay, is it like a case sensitive? Let's see. Yeah, this is a case sensitive. So what I'll do, I'll just go here. I'll just add one more. Let's go to overview. Explore table item. Give me 1 second. Let me add one more item. Okay. Create an item. Right. We'll add a new attribute. 240294347 something like that, whatever it is. Okay. Okay. Now we have two items, right? Then let's go ahead and filter now actually. And if I do run, it should print only whatever we are looking for actually. Let's say if you filter by your last name and begins with, it doesn't have to be exact, just begins with, or let's say for example, you are filtering by ratings, or you are filtering by grades of a student, or you are filtering by number of songs of a singer, or things like that. You can do equal to exact number if you know, and you can do equal or less than, you can do less than or greater than, begins with, right? So for example, let's, very simple. I'm going to show you right use case actually. Check company name availability in Georgia, right? Example, let's say. You see that? So this is contains, starts with, contains, exact match, right? This will, if I enter anything, what this application does, this application will look for the value in the database, right? Like state of Georgia should have a database table, like what are the company name, what are the companies are registered, and what are the names are available. Let's say if I do something like Aryabhatta Training Academy, right? And if I do search, okay, no font, that means which is available, right? And if I do like, Bawarchi search, okay, so the Bawarchi is also available. If I do Bawarchi, it should, you see that? So these are the businesses that are being registered which contains Bawarchi in the name actually. This is a real-time use case. If I go here, contains or begins with, right? Let's look for it. So you did not run the query, you know why? So your last name, this is your first name, right? Run the query, you see that? So you've got your details actually. You've got your complete details over here actually. Does that make sense? Are you guys with me? Can you guys type Y in the chat? Any questions, comments regarding DynamoDB? Okay. So let me stop recording.